Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It has been a little minute since I last posted or recorded or done anything. To be completely honest, I have been really lazy and I've been procrastinating and also just kind of feeling really uninspired to make anything, like kind of just like I don't have anything interesting in my life to record, to even put out there, something. I'm not doing anything different that someone else isn't doing. But recently I've been kind of like, actually, there are things that I can do and record and put out there, and kind of put my spin on it, where people will be attracted to it or whatever the case may be. I'm trying to get back into that groove. So something you guys can actually do for me is comment down below some content ideas that you would like to see from my channel, whether it's like TikToks or vlogs, day in the life, literally anything that you have, any ideas that you would like to see from me and my channel. Just comment those down below and I will do my best to take those into consideration and potentially make videos from them. I have a little list right now, but I would like to see what you guys want to see, and then we'll see what I can do from there. Now to actually jump into what today's video is about, if you couldn't already tell from the title of the video, I am going to be sharing my testimony with you guys. Jumping right into it, I grew up in church. I grew up in a very Christian environment. My parents are both Christian. They got saved at a younger age, so they got saved at 21 and 19. So by the time I was born, I just was born right into the Christian lifestyle. I was very heavily involved in church all throughout my childhood, and I just grew up into things of God. I loved being in church. I loved being a part of everything, all the different ministries I could, learning a lot of things actually about Christ and how to apply it to my life. Being a young kid, just like I want to do everything I could to please Jesus and go to heaven. Like that was literally my mindset. It was like, if it was gonna uplift who Christ was, that's who I was going to be, and that's what I was going to do. So growing up in that lifestyle, I feel like sometimes a lot of people just assume that because one grows up in the Christian lifestyle means that they there's no choice necessarily, that's just what they have to do. But there definitely is a choice to continue to live that lifestyle, even if that's what you grew up in. Fast forwarding to, I want to say, I believe either 14 or 15 years old, my church had a end of the year service, and we did this every New Year's, I guess. At the end of every year, the pastor would invite you up to the altar to basically start the new year out on a clean slate. I was like, what harm is it gonna do? Like every year I did it, I went up to the altar and I was like, God, forgive me of my sins. Let me go into this new year right. Like I'm gonna do this, and this, like making all these almost like Christian New Year's resolutions or things I want to see myself improve on that never actually happened in the year. I think I was going through the motions with. And so I believe this was, I want to say 2016. It was that I was just like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. Like I can remember just feeling very routined, just like I did this because I had to, like I didn't have another choice, like this is what my parents are doing. Like I'll serve God through my parents, like I am going off of their faith, like this is just all strictly dependent upon like them. Like it was not as personal of a relationship as it could have been from being a kid up until like 14 or 15 years old. I would go up every year to the altar for our New Year service and be like, you know what, God, I'm going to start over. Forgive me of everything. So like in case I don't make it into the new year, like I'm going to heaven because I prayed, and you forgave me or whatever. That was kind of like my mindset. Going to the altar like every New Year service. There was that one service that we had, and he was like, what, if you want to come up and like ask God to forgive you, go into the new year clean, with a clean heart, clean mind, like a clean slate, like come and do that now. And there was just something different about this one time that I decided to go up to the altar, and I was like, I'm actually gonna try to pursue my own relationship with Christ and not let it be based off of what my parents' faith looks like, but it'll be strictly upon my own faith. This is my own choice to pursue who Christ is. I went up and I was like, God, I want to do this for real. Like, I want my heart and soul to be connected to this journey, and I want it to be something that I do for me and not just because this is how I grew up or this is what my parents are doing. Making that choice December 31st of, I want to say 2016, I was like, we're gonna do this for real. So after that, I just was kind of like, every day was living by the very cliche statement of, what would Jesus do? And like, it's something that I find myself even to this day really just like, would Jesus do this? Or like, realistically, like, if he was in the modern day world, would he do this? And so that's kind of how I tried to live my life. Just like, if Jesus would do this, then I would. Or if he would be a part of this, then so would I. If he wouldn't, then I wouldn't. That was not an easy decision to make, because soon after I began my first job, so like, I believe going into that next year, or a couple of years after that, I went into one of my first jobs. And it was as a barista at a coffee shop. And I grew up very sheltered growing up in a Christian home, and growing up in church. It was very sheltered, so I didn't have a lot of access to the world per se. Like, I didn't get my first phone until I was 15. And even then, like, I wasn't allowed to have social media. I wasn't allowed to talk to any boys. Like, I literally had a phone for like emergency sake, like just to like call my parents if I needed to. I had all of the friends that I went to school with and I went to church with, and I saw them every day. So like, whenever we did text, it was because like they were out of town for the weekend or whatever. Didn't get social media until I was 16. So then I really wasn't like exposed, I guess, to the world through social media until then. But that was also around the time that I started my job. So it kind of all happened at the same time. I got social media, I started a new job, and then I was also just, you know, like, living my life. Starting the new job is kind of what really allowed me to figure out like my faith for myself. 13, I made the decision to fully commit to Christ. So it was 13 years old that I made that choice. I didn't really have, like I said, access to the world and worldly things or secular things. Like, I grew up only listening to Christian music, either at church or at home or at school. Like, that was pretty much it. So starting this new job was like a culture shock for me, because it was just like, bam, you're out there, you know? So I started this job, like, I was exposed to like secular music, people who lived very, very different lifestyles from me. And it was almost like kind of living in a movie, because I was like, there's no way, like, this is what really happens in the real world, you know? And so it was a really big culture shock, because it was like, okay, so there's music out there that doesn't uplift who God is and who Christ is. Okay, there are people who aren't Christians, who aren't necessarily bad people, but they just make different decisions from what a Christian would. There's just so many different things that just kind of like hit me all at once stepping into the workplace. And so that's when I made a lot of decisions for myself in my faith, like, okay, no, we're gonna do this, versus doing this with the friends that I started to make at work. So like, an example would be, I was 16 and when I started at the job, so like, I would have or make friends who would be like, oh, we're gonna go and like hang out at this place, or like, we're gonna go bowl or whatever, and we're gonna be out until like midnight. Or my curfew at the time was, I believe, 10 o'clock, because I was still in school and that's what my parents set for me. Yeah, like, we're gonna go hang out, like, Maya, do you want to come with us? And I'm like, well, if I go hang out with y'all, then I'll be breaking curfew. And it was like, that may not seem like a big thing, but it was the obedience behind it for me. Like, I'm gonna obey my parents because it's what they set for me. And then there were other a little bit more difficult or more extreme, I guess, cases where I had older friends who were like, we're gonna go and like drink and stuff. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna do that. Like, sorry, pass, whatever. These weren't like, I feel like sometimes these are just like, oh, they're easy decisions. Just choose to go home or choose not to, which was really hard for me, because first off, being exposed or going to work and just everything being different and having a different view on the world, now being in the workplace, I was just like, okay, whoa. And then having to like stand my ground and be like, okay, I'm gonna be the light of Christ at my job, and I'm going to say no to everything. And also being the person that I am, I wanted to make friends and I wanted to be social. Those different aspects were going on at one time, and I was just like, okay, at the end of the day, what would Jesus do? Like I said, it's a very cliche statement for Christians, but that's genuinely how I weighed out most of my decisions whenever I was 16, 17, 18 years old, through those first couple of years. It got a little discouraging for me, faith-wise, being in that kind of environment, because I was like, okay, literally I can't do anything. I can't go out with friends because they're gonna do this, or I can't go out and do anything because it goes against what I believe in or what I am choosing to do versus not do. I started to pray for Christian friends because a lot of people I worked with weren't Christian people. And so then slowly but surely God started to bring young Christian people to my job, work with them. I would find out things about them, find out that they were Christian people, and I just literally hung on to them for so long, clung to them, because I was like, y'all are gonna help me get through this, because we can hang out because we can't go hang out with other people. Even then, a lot of Christians have different beliefs and different convictions and things like that. So I had some friends that I made there that were Christians who decided to go out and hang out with the non-Christian friends, and it was like, wait, but if you're a Christian, why would you do that? And so it was very hard for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna stand up and not go, or I'm gonna stand on my faith and decide not to do these things. From the time I was 13 up until now, I've weighed every decision with just simply what would Jesus do in this situation? And it hasn't been easy, and it is definitely hard as a young person in the world today to live your life according to Christian standards versus just easily going along with what everyone else is doing, which is the easiest thing to do. And it's what our flesh naturally wants as human beings, is to go the easier way, or to not have to deal with the harder thing, or to not have to sacrifice anything. So to this day, it still is something that I don't necessarily struggle with. I can easily be like, you know what? Nah, I'm okay, thanks. Because I have had still hey, we're gonna go out and we're gonna go do this, this, and this. And I'm just like, you know what? No, thank you. I'm okay. And God has sent a lot of people into my life who are Christian people who I have gotten the chance to grow with and become really close with in friendships, which I'm super grateful for, because that was a struggle with working in the world and trying to find those Christian people who had similar beliefs to me, who wouldn't compromise their beliefs to hang out with other people, which is exactly what I was trying not to do. So to have those people there with me who were willing to also say no to the harder thing, or choose not to go and sin per se. That's kind of my testimony. It's not anything big or dramatic, or not this super I was out there and God saved me type story, but it still is significant. I want to kind of reiterate that, is that just because I grew up in a Christian environment, Christian household, the church, it's not any less significant. My salvation story or my testimony isn't any less significant than someone who was literally out in the world and got saved because they almost died or something, or they had some kind of God revelation. Both of our testimonies are just as significant. And so that's kind of my encouragement to anyone who is out there watching this, who grew up like I did in a very Christian environment, and they chose to continue on walking that Christian lifestyle. Your testimony isn't less significant because you decided to stay with this Christian thing, versus maybe growing up in the church and then leaving and then coming back to it. God still appreciates your willingness to say yes and continue working in the Christian lifestyle versus going out there figuring something out and then coming back. That's my testimony. That's kind of how I decided that I was going to pursue God, and that's kind of why I wanted to start this channel. It's just kind of also bring in other young people and attract young people who are really trying to live this lifestyle, and it is not easy. I literally people say take it day by day, but honestly I take it moment by moment, because sometimes it can be terrifying to take on a whole day, to be like, I'm just gonna take today and gonna make all the Christian decisions, when realistically it's moment by moment. We literally choose in each moment to do what Jesus would do, or to make the decision that would please God at the end of the day. I want to kind of put that out there for you guys so you kind of know a little bit more about me. Again, if you want to see any more Christian content videos, or any kind of content that you want to see from me, definitely comment those down below so that I can make those for you guys. And whatever it is that you want to see from me, whether it's like videos on YouTube or reels or shorts or literally whatever it is, put those down in the comments below, and I will do my best to make videos concerning what you guys put. That is who I am. That is my testimony, and I really do hope that it encouraged or helped someone who is watching this, and that you guys are able to learn from my channel, and that it helps you develop your Christian faith a little bit more. And we all are learning this thing together, because I am in no way perfect. I'm not saying that I am perfect, or that I've arrived, or that I figured this Christian walk out as a young person. Literally every day a different test will come up that'll be like, hey, and it will test my faith a little bit. I'm just like, ooh, all right, what am I gonna do? But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.